Welcome back to the JCPod, partner with Stare Down Sports. You know what we got today. Stare Down greatness. And man, as you can tell, my room sounds a lot different. We're finally, I think, officially moved in enough to where the house is kind of almost there. I mean, obviously I have some sound stuff I need to add in here because I'm either going to sound like I'm yelling down the hallway or it's going to just sound a little bit quieter. I'm not really sure what to expect exactly. So I apologize for the audio. Probably going to be messy for a couple weeks as I kind of figure out like what to hang in here to... Because I won't lie to you, like at my mother's house where I've been staying for while I've been in the process of moving, I had jerseys on the wall, so the jerseys on the wall helped mask the sound a little bit. I got nothing here, so the sound is probably going to be a bit funky, so I apologize for that ahead of time. But man, I'm excited to be back on. This is the first time I'm probably recording an episode on the actual day it's coming out in like 2 or 3 weeks, so that's awesome. So there's that going for us. As you can tell, though, this is not my normal chair. I got a kitchen chair in here because your boy don't got a truck to bring over his rolling chair, so that's going to be coming over. Probably you'll see that back next week. But man, like I said, we're back on the first official day, or we're back for the first time in a while on an official day. So, but it's going to be pretty simple today. What we're going to do is we're going to go over some NFL news. There's some stuff I want to talk about. I'll be really quick. We'll go rapid fire with it, and then we got the Commanders and the Eagles finished breaking down the NFC East, and then all I got are the West, baby. We got the AFC West next week. We got the NFC West following that. I was trying to think of months and everything. We got the NFC West following that. Good chance I'll probably, if I can, I have no idea if I'll be able to. I'm going to try to bang those out so we have everything done by August. And then August will be the lost futures of the summer where, as some of you know if you've been following along, I'm going to have futures where I've been close on the borderline that I didn't take but I eventually came back to. We're going to talk about some of that, and then I'll have some college futures I'm going to go over. But that's going to be down the line. Like I said, let's get right into it today. So we're going to go over some NFL news, like I said, before we head into the news with, or not the news, sorry, the futures. So like I said, there's some NFL news I want to talk about. First thing first, man, I'm going to have to look up to talk to people today. The Rashee Rice, he's going to be facing 30 days in jail and probation over high-speed crash that he suffered, was that 2 years ago at this point? March 2024, so no, just a little bit over a year ago. So yeah, as part of the plea agreement, Rice was sentenced to 5 years of deferred probation and 30 days in jail. As a condition of his probation, he's also required to pay the victims out-of-pocket medical expenses, which totaled about $115,000. If you remember, he was driving a Lamborghini 119 miles per hour when he made multiple aggressive maneuvers in traffic and struck other vehicles. So I just want to bring that up because that's going to be, I don't know what that's going to mean for fantasy-wise or anything like that. I'm assuming he's going to be ready to go and should be good to go for, season and everything. Like, I think he should be fine. Season-wise, like, I know he's not one of the guys who are going to have issues, but we're just going to have to see. And a guy who will be having issues, though, is Quinshon Judkins. He is facing domestic violence charges, and he's also holding out in the middle of his rookie, or his second, rookie. He's a second rounder. A lot of the second rounders are holding out for the time being because of issues with contract negotiations. Some rookies got their contracts fully guaranteed. Some other rookies are trying to do that as well. So that's something to keep an eye on for him because it sounds like, at minimum he's going to miss, because of this domestic abuse thing, it sounds like he's going to miss 6 weeks if that's what happens with that. But regardless, he's not coming to training camp. They told him to figure out his domestic violence issues pretty much. They told him, hey, figure out what's going on with that situation, figure that issue out, and then we'll come back to this. So it sounds like he's going to be down and out for a minute, which is not ideal for a backfield. It looked like he was going to take over. They basically said, hey, Jerome Ford, if you want to come back, Cleveland did. They're like, hey, Jerome Ford, if you want to come back, take a pay cut, do all this, then you can come back. So, and with him and Pierre Strong there, that was a backfield that was going to be wide open for Judkins if he didn't have this issue. So it's going to be interesting to see what comes of this because basically now it's just a waiting game to see what happens with his case. And then it's going to be see if, all right, are they going to sign him to a deal or not? But regardless, he's missing training camp, so for those fantasy people out there, sucks. Sucks for us who are looking at him with your boys looking at getting him potentially. So it's like, damn! Mike Williams retires after 8 seasons in the NFL. He just announced it basically. So he's put on. Oh, I didn't even realize this. So he was placed on the physically unable to perform list earlier this week with an undisclosed injury. So the fact that he's retiring makes me wonder if it was one of an injury I think he had knee issues. I wonder if it's a knee issue that flared up. I wonder what's going on with that. But regardless, shout out to Mike Williams for a hell of a career. It just sucks that he couldn't stay healthy. He was a monster at Clemson, but he's just not been able to stay healthy in the NFL, and that's basically been his issue. And yeah, I mean, if he just hasn't been able to stay healthy, which sucks for him. But Quentin Johnson, Lam McConkey, and Trey Harris are now going to be the top 3 wideouts. Which, if those of us who are kind of in on Trey Harris, it's going to be nice to get him a little bit more playing time early. So that's at least a promising thing for them. I just want to give a special, I want to give a shout out, to Brian Brayman. He passed away at 38 with a rare form of cancer, and it was just announced earlier this morning. Apparently, he was diagnosed earlier this year, had multiple surgeries in recent months to attempt to treat the illness, and then he died Thursday morning. Just really, really sad, man. And I just want to bring this out there. Cancer sucks. Cancer sucks, and that's the main reason I just want to talk this up. Is cancer really sucks. I mean, 38 years old. My mother's dealing with cancer right now, and she's in her 40s. So it's one of those things where it's like cancer just sucks, man. Because one week you're fine, and it seems like it's going in remission, and you're doing better, and then the next week you're hit with a wall, and it gets worse. I mean, it's just cancer's really a tough battle. So it's just I just want to give a shout out to him because that really, really sucks. Jordan Addison is apparently taking a lesser charge in the DUI case. He pleads to a lesser charge. So I think at worst it's going to be like a 3-game suspension is potentially what he's looking at, basically to come down from his issue that's going on. So that's another thing to keep an eye out for when it comes to legal issues. Von Miller is going to end up signing with the Commanders. It's slated to be a 1-year deal between the teams, and they're still finalizing terms, I believe. I believe they should be potentially finalized by now already. This news came out, I think, yesterday, almost 24 hours ago. So good addition for them, good veteran leadership, and now it's funny. I think the Commanders are like the second oldest team in the NFL, and they just had another old guy. Let's bump up that. But I think any veteran help you can get is, any veteran help is good help. So that's really good news there. The Jets, they signed Sauce Gardner to a 4-year, $120.4 million extension. He basically gets, I think, $1 million more than. I can't think of what. There's another young cornerback, same class, that just signed as well for a deal. They basically gets a little bit more than. Garrett Wilson signed a 4-year, $130 million deal. So awesome to see those guys coming back and signing with the team because there's a lot of changes going to be happening with the Jets during a new, what's the word? I don't want to say era, but new ownership, I can't think of the word. I don't know why I can't think of the word. But basically not new ownership, but there's new head coach. Why can't I think of it? Basically new leadership. So that's gonna be interesting. It's interesting to see like they signed back. So it's like, okay, hey, they're at least buying into Aaron Glenn, and not only that, Aaron Glenn wants to keep these guys around, which makes sense. I think it came out too that like this is the first time since like 2010 or like something around there where they've signed their first round picks to a second contract, which is just like, what? And there's a fun Bear stat I want to give out too before I go, but that will just be a fun little stat that I'll give out in a minute because it's not too important to what we're talking about today. Scary Terry's still pretty frustrated what's going on with the contract negotiations with him and the Commanders. Just want to bring that up because that's going to be something that we need to discuss when we talk about futures. Because I do have some futures on Terry McLaurin I think I'm going to take. It's just like, I'm curious if the books have him low because if the deal's not signed or if it's just because of projections. But he is still having issues with the Commanders, so that's something to keep an eye on. Trey Smith is the top paid guard now. He's on a 4-year, $94 million extension. It makes him the highest paid guard now, and the extension reportedly includes $70 million guaranteed. So shout out to Trey Smith for that. And the final thing I want to talk about is Juwan Jennings. He wants a new deal or he wants traded is what he came out with and said to the 49ers a couple days ago. He's making about $7.5 million a year, which is very team friendly when you think about Deebo Samuel's gone. He was the second leading receiver in almost every stat, basically behind George Kittle last year. So that's something where, gonna have to keep an eye on that because right now he's their second leading target, and he's gonna. I'm sure there's a lot of people, especially fantasy-wise, that are being interested in this guy. So him wanting to request a trade or not getting a deal signed. I mean, usually the 49ers are good about this stuff, but we're just gonna have to see if they get something done there. And the Bears stat I wanted to give out. I mean, it's really sad, man. I'm not gonna lie. It's the Bears. So they apparently, in the last 10 years for their win total, they've only hit the over one time in their win totals. And these are our win totals. 6.5, 7.5, 5.5, 7.5, 9, 8, 7.5, 5.5, 7.5, 8.5. Mind you, they've hit it once in 10 years. So you read those numbers, it's like, what is going on in Chicago? What's going on in Chicago? But that's going to do it for the NFL news. Like I said, there's just it's finally some stuff that's been happening since we're getting closer to the season, so there's some stuff to talk about there. College football-wise, I mean, there's always stuff going on in college football. Indiana got rid of some stuff with IU. IU's getting rid of some games with Virginia, so now they're playing lesser opponents, which kind of makes sense, kind of just weird. Mountain West is project expansion amid legal stuff with the Pac-12. I mean, there's just a bunch of stuff going on right now. They got media days and all that. So, college football, I mean, it's rounding up. You see it up there. We got like 37 days left. 37 days until week 0. I mean, it's crazy to think that we're a month away from college football. I mean, you can almost smell it in the air. Well, like I said, that's probably going to do it for that part today. I feel like we're good there. So, let's talk some futures, breakdowns. Let's talk this NFC East, people. I'll lie to you. I don't like being this small either because I like to talk a little bit and then I end up just down here and I look like I'm creeping over a fence down here. But won't lie to you. There's no way to fix it because your boy don't got his chair. But we're going to talking the NFC East. We got the Commanders, Eagles. We're probably going to go over the Commanders first. Commanders. I saw a white logo for their team logo for whatever reason. I thought it wasn't them for a minute, but Eagles finished 14-3 last year. Commanders 12-5, top 2 of the division. We talked about the bottom 2, 7-10 Cowboys and 3-14 Giants on Tuesday. But the Commanders finished 12-5. I believe their whole staff's coming back. Yes, their head coach, offensive coordinator, and defensive coordinator are all coming back. Assistant team coach John Glenn is being replaced with Brian Schneider, and that is the only change in the coaching staff. Everyone else is pretty much coming back, which is huge for this team going into year 2, especially for Jaden Daniels, so he can keep some continuity going. Which, speaking of, let's go over their 2 deep. Jaden Daniels, Marcus Mariota, both are back. Brian Robinson Jr., Austin Eckler, Chris Rodriguez Jr., Jerry McNichols, everyone there comes back. Terry McLaurin is still working on an extension. We're going to see what happens with him, but he leads the way. You got Deebo Samuel, Noah Brown, Luke McCaffrey, Jalen Lane, Michael Gallup, Zach Ertz, John Bates for the tight ends, Ben Sinnott as well. And then Larry Tunsil, Nick Allegretti, Tyler Biazis, Sam Cosme, and Josh Connerly are their offensive linemen. Defensively, you got Dorrance Armstrong, Deron Payne, Javon Kinlaw, Von Miller, Frankie Louvu, Bobby Wagner, Dominic Hampton, Mike Sanistrill, Will Harris, Quan Martin, Marshawn Lattimore, and Noah. I'm not even going to try to pronounce that. I literally had it before we started, and now I can't pronounce it, but Noah Ig. We'll just call him Noah Igbin, and that's not his last name. I mean, I literally can't pronounce it. I won't lie to you. It took me a minute to get it, and then I finally got it, and now we're back on, and the lights are all shiny. It's like, I can't do it, but this is a team, like I said, they bring back a lot of their guys last year. They fell just short of the Eagles in the NFC Championship game, with the Eagles end up becoming Super Bowl champs. Schedule-wise, the Commanders start off the season home against the Giants, away versus Green Bay, home versus Las Vegas, 2-game road trip to Atlanta, and then the Chargers, home for the Bears, away for the Cowboys, away for the Chiefs, home for Seahawks, home for Detroit, home versus Miami. This is an overseas game. They get a bye week 12, which is clutch for them because this is a playoff team in my opinion. Home versus Denver, away versus Minnesota, away versus New York Giants, home versus Eagles, home versus Cowboys, and away versus Eagles. Man, Eagles 2 of the last 3 games of the season, and then imagine them in the playoffs. We have a chance for the Eagles and Commanders to meet in the playoffs, or play 3 games in like a 5-week span. That is insane to think about. Schedule-wise, this isn't too bad of a schedule, though. I mean, it definitely is a little bit harder, but I mean, when you have the hard games like the Chiefs, the Lions, like that, you got some softer games like the Bears. That's a little bit disrespectful. You got a little bit softer games, like I guess you could consider the Giants in division will be a little bit softer. Atlanta's probably a bit easier, but this is going to be a bit of a tough schedule. I am probably taking their win total at over 9.5 wins. I mean, they went, what did we just say, 12-5 last year. I definitely think 10-7 is in the cards for them this season. I think there will be a slight bit of regression. I don't think it'll be too much that it'll be crazy, though, so I do like that there when it comes to their schedule. I think you can find 10 wins on there is basically what I'm trying to say. For sure, I think you can find 10 wins. If you'd like them to win the NFC East, that's plus 210. They're in second place. Don't think I'm going to get there just myself, though. I'll be honest. I I just don't like it that much. I just don't know. I wouldn't be shocked if they win the division. I think it's gonna be. Oh shit. I think it's gonna be between them and the Eagles. I just can't. I can't get myself to take it, so I haven't done it yet. So yeah, that's kind of why I'm staying away. So let's go over some player prop stuff because yeah, win wise, like I said, I'm not probably taking anything special wise with them. I'm just looking at. There's basically two guys I'm looking at. I'm looking at Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin for my futures with this team. So we're going to talk Jaden Daniels first. Last year, 3,500 passing yards. You got 891 rushing yards. Passing touchdowns, 25, 9 interceptions. He had 6 rushing touchdowns as well. So now we're looking at some of his numbers for coming into this season. Rushing wise, it's over 675 and a half. I do think I'm going to take that over. I do think they're going to try to get him to run a little bit less because there were some times where he took some shots. And I mean, it was like some big shots, but he was able to pop back up. LSU, there's times he took big shots and was like actually like, oh man, he's like really, really hurt. But in the NFL, it seemed like he did a lot better with some of those big shots where he was able to get up and not be affected as much. But yeah, I like his rush yards over 675. The fact that he almost had 900 rushing yards and now they dropped it all the way down to 675. Like I said, I think there's going to be some regression because as he gets better as a passer. But his legs are still going to be there. This team's going to use his legs, so I like how low that number is. Passing-wise, it's 34, 50 and a half. He just got over 35 playing all 17. I don't think I'm going to take that. I at least just wanted to talk it out a little bit. I don't mind the number. It's just a little bit closer to where I'm like, I think I'm going to stay away. Passing touchdown-wise, they basically have him for getting the same number, 24 and a half. I'm just going to stay away from that. It's plus money. I just want to bring it up because it's plus money, but that's one where I think I'm going to stay away from. I ended up not taking his. Oh, that's what I needed to delete. I deleted one of the stats by accident, or one of the futures I was looking at. I'm like, couldn't remember what it was. It was just rushing touchdowns. We'll check that out real quick. But yeah, I for sure like his rushing yards. I think he'll hit over that. Passing yards wise, I wouldn't be shocked if he hits over it, but it's just close enough number for me personally where I'm like, I think I'm going to stay away. I think I'm good. But Jaden Daniels, his rushing touchdowns are over under 5.5. I do like that over. I will be taking that. He had 6 last year, like I said. And I don't think their running back room improved enough to where I think they're going to take away a few of these carries. So I like it. I mean, it's minus 130, not the best of odds. But I do think he's going to get. I just think this offense in year 2, I think he's only going to improve in this offense in year 2. I mean, he was pretty good last year, but now he got a whole year of NFL experience under his belt, got a couple playoff games. I think he's going to play a lot better, so I'm excited to watch him. And he's my fantasy quarterback too last year, so I actually getting to watch him a lot of these games. It was a lot of fun. Like I paid really, really close attention to Jaden Daniels, and that was awesome. It was awesome to be able to watch him and just see him grow at game after game and improve. And yeah, I like the over 5.5 for that reason. But yeah, passing touchdown wise, I think I'm good there. So we're going to stay away from that per se. But I do like his rushing yards. I do like his rushing touchdowns. I like how they basically are very close to what they were last year. And I like how they're either close or lower than what they were last year in a year where I think he's at least going to improve a little bit offensively. So I'm excited about that, and I think that's something I'm going to take. Now let's look at Terry McLaurin. Now, like I said, I don't know why I started talking before on camera. I got a real bad habit of that. Before we get into Terry McLaurin fully, as I said, he's dealing with some contract issues. I'm just going to kind of lean. I think this is similar to obviously this is an ownership thing that we have to keep an eye on because this is technically new ownership, and Terry McLaurin wasn't fully their guy, but he's the face of he's been the face of the Commanders for all these years where they've been really, really bad. To see him not pay him, I wonder what's holding it up truly. But it's one of those things where it's like, man, he's been so good for you. I mean, he's had 1,000 yards receiving since 2020. He was drafted in 2019. And he has had 1,000 receiving yards over every season. Last year, career year for him. 82 receptions, which was the second highest. 1,096, which was the second highest. 13 touchdowns, which is his highest. I mean, definitely think there's going to be some touchdown regression, but yeah, over under 975 and a half for his receiving yards. There's only been one season where he didn't get that over, and it was his rookie season, so you best believe we're going to be taking some scary Terry over 975 and a half receiving yards. I'll admit, I am very nervous that I don't think he's going to sit out games. I do think they'll get this figured out. I just am so nervous, man. I'm just it's just because it's a possibility. I'm nervous about the possibility. I don't think he'll do it, but I am nervous about the possibility. And his over-under of receiving touchdowns is 6.5. That's a maybe. I don't think I'll take it, but because I do think there's going to be some regression, but I don't know how much. The fact that he has Jaden Daniels now, he doesn't have a poopy quarterback. Like, he's had some pretty bad quarterbacks. He had like 3.5, 3.5 receiving touchdown. Or sorry, those are drops. Excuse me. Receiving touchdown wise, he's at 4.5, 5.4, and then he had 13. So it's like, I do think he has a chance to hit over that, but it's minus 128. I don't think I'm going to take it for the odds. I also don't think I'm going to take it because, yeah, it's just a little bit too high. I do like his receiving yards, though, because like I said, I assume they're going to figure this out. I assume he's going to get on the field. And if he gets on the field, he's by far their best receiver. And I will admit, there's a chance that Zach Ertz might have more, especially in the red zone. You know what? That's what I probably should look up. I forgot to. Let's look up Zach Ertz. Strictly receiving touchdowns, just because I think he's going to be a big red zone target. They don't even have it up. So yeah, I mean, I think the biggest red zone target is going to be Zach Ertz, and then right behind him is scary Terry McLaurin. So I like those numbers right there, and I think that's probably it futures-wise for this team. I mean, when it comes to projecting this team overall, I mean, I just think this is going to be another good team. I probably see them regressing like a win or two, so like 11-6, 10-7. That's probably my projection about what they're going to be this season. I think it's going to be another good year for Jaden Daniels. I think he's going to upgrade. I'm curious to see what happens with the running back situation because, like I said, Brian Robinson and Austin Eckler are leading the way. This is a team where you got to think, especially if they lock up Scary Terry. If they lock him up this year and they add him to the extension, you got to think they got to go running back next year in the draft, right? You just got to think. I mean, this, in my opinion, that's what this offense is missing. They're just missing a true number 2 wide receiver that's like an elite. Like, I guess I don't want to say T. Higgins level wide receiver because he's borderline number 1, but something that's very similar, like how the teams have George Pickens and CeeDee Lamb, Cowboys. Jamar Chase, T. Higgins. Like, they have Terry McLaurin. If they had another name to go along with that, I feel like would be awesome because they have the reliable tight end, Zach Ertz. And then they also have Jaden Daniels. So they're just missing running back and a true, like, dominant number 2 wide receiver. And I think their offense is set. Defensively, Dan Quinn's been great with this team. They got a bunch of older veterans who have been really good in this league. I think they just need to merge that with their young guys, and I think it's going to be a great team. Really, really like what's going to happen with this team. Like I said, I think it's going to be a good season for them. Will they win the Super Bowl? I don't think so, but I think, I don't think last year was a fluke by any means. I think this is a team that's going to be an issue for the next coming years. I'm just excited to see, is there I don't think there's going to be a C.J. Stroud-like sophomore slump for Jaden Daniels. I think there will be a bit of regression, but I don't think it should be too horrible. I still think this is going to be a pretty decent team, like I said, going into the next year. So, my official futures for the Commanders heading into 2025. We got their win total at over 9.5. I project them for 10-7, 11-6. We got Jaden Daniels over 675.5 rushing yards. We got Jaden Daniels over 5.5 rushing touchdowns. The first one's minus 114 for the yards, minus 130 for the touchdowns. And the last one, we got scary Terry McLaurin over 975.5 receiving yards. His touchdowns are 6.5 for Terry McLaurin. I don't like the minus 128, and I also wish it was if it was 5.5, I'd love it. 6.5 is kind of I'm starting to wonder. And like I said, if this contract stuff gets figured out, then we'll be all good when it comes to them, and I don't think that stuff should be a total issue at all. Now we got the Philadelphia Eagles, who their coaching staff, I believe, is pretty much the same. A promotion offensive coordinator, several new hires. Parks Frazier got, okay, that was an ex-Colts guy. I think defensive coordinator is still there. Brandon Graham. Okay, so I guess this is something, yeah. So the biggest things are Nick Sirianni received a contract extension. Brandon Graham is out, so Vic Fangio's still there as defensive coordinator, obviously. Brandon Graham announced his retirement after 15 seasons, going out on top, and then Kellen Moore left, become the head coach of the Saints. So offensively is where it's going to be interesting to see if anything changes with this team. They're still going to be a great team. I mean, you know it. They got Jalen Hurts, Tanner McKee, Dorian Thompson-Robinson as the quarterback, Saquon Barkley, Will Shipley, A.J. Dillon as the third. Okay, A.J. Dillon. Okay, A.J. A.J. Dillon as the third stringer. You got A.J. Brown, Devonta Smith, Jahan Dotson, Johnny Wilson, Terrence Marshall, Anaya Smith, Dallas Goedert, Grant Calcaterra, Jordan Mailata, Landon Dickerson, Cam Jurgens, Tyler Steen, Lane Johnson. I mean, this team is just full of studs. Moro Ojomo, Ojomo, Jordan Davis, Jalen Carter, Nolan Smith, Zach Bond, Nakobe Dean, Azeez Ojulari, Quinyon Mitchell, Reed Blankenship, Andrew Makuba, Keely Ringo, and Cooper DeJean. Now, rounds of the starters. I mean, this is a team, and then they also drafted Jihad Campbell. It's going to be I think Jahad Campbell was just drafted this year. Or am I thinking of the dude who's in Birthplace? Yeah, he was just drafted. I was about to say. I think he just came out of Alabama. I think he's going to be a good addition for them as well. I mean, this is a team that obviously they won the Super Bowl. They're pretty good for a reason. Let's check out their schedule heading into the season. They start off the season Thursday Night Football against the Dallas Cowboys at home. Following that up with the road game against the Chiefs, and they travel to LA to play the Rams, and away for the Buccaneers. Home for Denver, away for the Giants, away for Minnesota, back home for the Giants before they go to Week 9. So that's basically 2 easy wins right there, or should be at least against the Giants. For whatever reason, though, they play tough games against the Giants sometimes. I'm assuming this year might be a tad. I can't say that, I guess. It's a division game. Week 10, they go to Green Bay, and then they're back home in Week 11 against Detroit. Then they travel to Dallas, back home for Chicago, travel to the Chargers, back home for Vegas, away for Commanders, away for Buffalo, home versus Commanders. So, yeah, that little Commanders-Eagles thing they're doing, that could be potentially for the number 1 seed in the division, which this team, by the way, is favored minus 135 to win the East. They're plus 370 to be the NFC champs. They're also plus 370 to be the number 1 seed. So if you're a betting person, you might as well just bet them to be the number 1 seed in the play. I mean, I guess. Because, that's basically the same bet. Because, yeah, if they're the NFC champs, they're probably going to be the number 1 seed in the playoffs. So that makes sense why it's the same number, Jaden. But, that's something where either or, I can't really blame you for taking it. They're probably going to be good again. This team was... it's a really good team for a reason. Their coaching staff's really good. They have a lot of really good players that are really, really good. Looking at this team, to win the Super Bowl, it's plus 750. Their win total, 10.5 is minus 165. If you go to 11.5, it's plus 110. So they're basically, Vegas has them projected for 11 wins, I would say. 11, 12 wins, about that range, which is about where I had it again. I think there's going to be a slight... I wouldn't be shocked if they lose an extra game that they didn't lose last year, or vice versa, where they win an extra game. But I think there's another team where they're going to go 12-5, probably be first, second, third. Probably second, if I had to guess, second in the playoff hunt. You got some other stuff. Saquon Offensive Player of the Year is plus 550. Him to have the most regular season rushing yards, plus 310. I don't think that's anything I'm going to dabble in, per se. Just because I think Saquon Barkley will have a bit of a regression this year. I don't think it's going to be a crazy drop-off, like he just falls off a cliff and he's completely horrible. But, last year where he almost had the rushing record, I don't think it's going to be something like that. I wouldn't be shocked if he goes for, 1,700 rushing yards, which is a lot. But I wouldn't be shocked if he drops to, 1,400. That's still a really good season. It's just he had such an amazing season last year. There obviously has to be some regression in some way. Jaden, I know, for example, his rushing touchdowns are 10.5 this year. Jalen Hurts are at 12.5. I won't lie to you. I took Jalen Hurts. We already gave this out earlier in the offseason, but I took Jalen Hurts over 12.5 rushing touchdowns because they didn't get rid of the tush push. I was waiting on this rule. A lot of money came in early on them to ban the tush push when this was at a better-ish number, so I think it dropped a little bit, and then it got announced that hey, the tush push isn't going away. So then it's okay. A lot of people were probably pretty pissed they bet the under in rushing touchdowns. But after it basically got announced that the tush push isn't going away, I went on the over because I think it's going to be another season of him having a good amount of rushing touchdowns. I won't lie to you. I'm only focused on Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts for this team just because there's games where A.J. Brown takes over, there's games where Devonta Smith takes over, and it can go back and forth. So I'm not going to mess around too much with the wide receivers. They just have too much talent on offense. They have so much talent on offense. It's not because I don't think they're going to be good. It's just because I think the ball's going to get passed around a little bit too much per se. So it's okay, let's just lock in on Jalen Hurts. Let's lock in on Saquon Barkley. So it's over under for Jalen Hurts passing yards 3,200. Last season he played in 15 games, had 2,900 passing yards, 18 touchdowns, 5 interceptions. Rushing touchdowns wise, he had 14 rushing touchdowns in 10 games, or in 15 games, excuse me. So that's why I love the rushing touchdown over. His over-under passing yards is 3,200. Because of what he got last year, I lean the under. But if you look at his years before, he had 3,800, 3,700. I just think it's because of the running game. The running game is so dominant now, and they have so much of the running game that I think they're going to rely on it a little bit more. Obviously, I wouldn't be shocked if they pass the ball a lot more to start the season, and as the season comes on, regress back into running it more just to keep the wide receivers happy. But because of that, I'm not going to take anything Jalen Hurts passing-wise. His over-under passing touchdowns is 19.5. Tempted. That is something I'm tempted on. The yards, not so much. The passing yards, not so much, but the touchdowns. a little bit more, but I don't like either too much to take it, especially because his passing touchdowns are minus 122 for the over 19.5. Like, I think this is going to be a good offense. It's just, man, some of their numbers with the odds is just like, ugh, I don't really like that. And then, like I said, this is one of those ones where it's like, yeah, I'm just not. Maybe I don't need to take it then. So I'm not taking the 3,200 passing yards. I'm not taking the 19.5 passing touchdowns. Saquon Barkley. It's just a matter of how much do we think he's going to regress. I might even take his rushing touchdowns again. Like I said, I wouldn't. I want to pick one or the other if I could, but there's a chance I might still just take it anyway. Like, yeah, last season he had 2,000 rushing yards. He had 13 rushing touchdowns. My only scare is injury. Like, I don't think he's going to get. I mean, he had 345 attempts as well. I mean, that's a lot of workload, and I don't think that's even included the playoffs. So that's just something where it's like, man, is he going to regress at all? Is there going to be injury scare? If there's no injury scare, I love this over of 1450 and a half rushing yards. Like I just think he had 2,000 last year. Like I said, I know it was a really good year for him, but 1450 just feels a little bit too low. I still think he can get 1,600 rushing yards. As long as he stays healthy, I think 1,600 rushing yards would have been my over-under. So I love this 1450. Definitely think that's doable. If you look at his rushing touchdowns now, like I said, he's plus 310. He is the leader in the clubhouse to lead in rushing yards. If you look at his rushing touchdowns, like I said, it's at 10.5. He had 13 last year. I do lean it a little bit because I think, like I said, there's going to be some regression. I could definitely see him getting 11, but no reason to take it. I don't want to force it too much. We already have so many futures we've taken this season, too. We still got 8 more teams to finish with, so I don't mind locking in a little bit, especially because I really like the Jaden Daniels, Terry McLaurin futures, so I'll probably stick to those a little bit more, and then we'll just stay away from a lot of the Eagles, because like I said, I think this is a really good team. They're going to win 12 games again this season, maybe even win 11 if they lose one extra, but it's something where, yeah, I'm not going to be... You aren't going to see me going heavy on the Eagles just because, like, I don't know who's going to be... One week it could be A.J. Brown. Next week it's Saquon week. All right, it's a Jalen Hurts week. Now it's Devontae Smith week. Hey, Devontae Smith gets again. Now it's back to A.J. Brown. Now it's back to Saquon. Back to A.J. Brown. Like, they just have so... It's one of those things where it's like they have so many offensive weapons. I don't know where to truly lock in at. So I'm just sitting here like, man, that's why I like the Jalen Hurts rushing touchdowns, because I think, like, we know what they're going to do. We know they're going to touch push. That's one of the things we can rely on. So if they get it in close, I like that for those, especially because there's plus money. And I think it's mainly plus money because, like I said, a lot of people jumped in on it. And, I mean, there's games where he has 3 rushing touchdowns. That's a quarter of them right there in one game if he did it. There's games where he has multiple games where he's had 2 rushing touchdowns. So I really like that. I think, like I said, I think the Eagles are going to be a really good team again. It's just a matter of, like, all right, are they going to be at the 11.5 win? Are they going to be at the 11 win mark or the 12 win mark? Will they be at the 1 or 2 seed going into the playoffs? I mean, Commanders and Eagles, these are 2 teams that are going to be in the playoffs. We're going to see a lot more of these teams. There's going to be a lot of these teams to talk about all throughout the season. So I don't think I need to waste a lot of time on them in the offseason because these are 2 really good teams that we're going to be talking about a lot. And it's not shocking that there's a reason number 1 and number 2 to win the division. There's a reason the Eagles are minus 135 to win the division. I mean, that team is just so damn talented. Offensive line, super talented. Wide receiver room, super talented. Quarterback, super talented. Defensively, super talented at almost every position. I mean, it's almost like they're like the LA Dodgers of the NFL. Or it's just like, man, they got a stud at every single position, it feels like. It's just like, man, how do they keep doing it? Will they go back-to-back? I don't want to say that just yet. I mean, their Super Bowls, like they're plus 750. I think they're like 3rd or 4th in the odds. I don't think they'll go back-to-back per se, but wouldn't be shocked they at least made it back to the Super Bowl. I at least see them probably going to the divisional round. We'll end with that real quick before I give out my official futures for them. Is the stage of elimination for the Eagles. Let's just take a peek, man. For the Commanders, real quick, miss the playoff plus 110, losing wild card plus 310, losing Super Bowls 1900, losing conference championship rounds 950. So those are what the odds are for the Commanders, just to give you some. This basically give you like a kind of a thing to compare it against. So we're talking Philadelphia Eagles. Miss the playoffs, plus 270. Losing wild card, plus 310. Plus 340 for losing divisional. Plus 550 to lose a conference championship. To lose the Super Bowls, plus 900. To win the Super Bowls, plus 750. So if it's personally me, I'd probably do the plus 550 losing conference championship game, plus 900 losing Super Bowl. Only way I see this team really losing like games is if they beat themselves and they just play really, really below their level. At least until they get to the playoffs, when then anything can happen. But This is a team that they should have no issue winning 11, 12 games, and this is a team as long as they can stay away from the drama, stay away from the BS, which you can only do so much in Philadelphia, staying away from some of that drama. If they're able to stay away from it, I mean, I don't see, in the great words of Michael Jordan, the ceiling is the roof. I don't see why they can't do what they did last year and have more success because they're bringing everyone back pretty much, and everyone seems to be in great spirits and great moods. Like I said, losing Brandon Graham's going to be a tough loss, especially after the year before you lose Jason Kelsey, then the next year you lose Brandon Graham. Like, that's tough. So we're going to see how that plays out, but I think you're going to be fine, man. So my official futures for the Philadelphia Eagles, we got Jalen Hurts over 12.5 rushing yards. Or let's retry that again. My official futures for the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts over 12.5 rushing touchdowns. Rushing touchdowns. 12.5 rushing touchdowns for Jalen Hurts. I like the Eagles 10.5 win total. It's minus 165 though, so I'm good on the 10.5 there. 11.5 plus 110 makes me a bit nervous, so I love the 10.5. Hate the odds for it though, I will say. And then the last one we'll be taking for this team is Saquon Barkley over 1450.5 rushing yards. So that means my official futures for part 2 of the NFC East, where we have not only the Philadelphia Eagles, but we have the Washington Commanders. We have the Commanders over 9.5 wins. Jaden Daniels over 675.5 rushing yards. Jaden Daniels over 5.5 rushing touchdowns. Terry McLaurin over 975 receiving yards. We got Jalen Hurts over 12.5 rushing touchdowns. We got the Eagles over 10.5 wins. And we got Saquon Barkley over 1450.5 rushing yards. Thank you all for watching. Thanks for the support. I really do appreciate it. It feels good to be back and recording on a day where it's going to come out the same day. Sorry for the delay. I had some computer issues. Spent 30 minutes on the phone with my uncle. He was helping me reconnect my Bluetooth and figure out why the Bluetooth was just being so crappy with this. But we got computers fully set up now. Everything's set up. Only thing we're missing in this room is some sound. So like that, I do apologize for the sound probably being funky for the next couple of weeks. But once we get that fixed, I mean, hey, we'll be smooth sailing, and this will be a new setup. I eventually want to try to go live, too, if I can go live occasionally, but I don't know how that's going to work. We're going to have to play with that, but you best believe that, I mean, once August comes, we'll probably be hitting, I mean, I might wait till week 0, but there's a good chance that we're going to be hitting 3 episodes here soon. It's about that time. We need to do it. Has to be done. But thank you all for watching. Thanks for the report. I'll be back next week in this feed to give you the AFC West breakdown.